Hello everyone, and welcome to my new speedrun on Midwest US. It's a very tricky map. Not only are the criteria, the objectives, and all objectives Monopoly are quite difficult, but also it crashes a lot, so you need to try and work around that. You want to start in Cleveland because it is the closest location to another town, so that you can do the inching. And after you've done the inching, you will be able to purchase whatever you want, which is also why we started on investor for this level, because we need to buy factories and a lot of rail, so we need money, and we'll generate a lot of money, so we can buying out the opponents isn't really an issue. After that, you want to go and secure steel in Pittsburgh as soon as possible, and that's not because it's not such a acute goal to get, but you also need to get automobiles in Detroit. So if you build steel in Pittsburgh, that can serve both the purposes, as you can put the steel onward to Detroit. After that, we want to make sure that Indianapolis grows to a metropolis as quickly as possible. So we start to branch out to Cincinnati, where we will be shipping passengers to Indianapolis, as it helps the town grow. Then we check what kind of industries do Indianapolis have. They have a stockyard, and they have a furniture plant, so we'll also use that to get the maximum growth for Indy. So the tricky goals of this level is that you need to deliver the 33 automobiles to Indianapolis, which of course require you to grow Indianapolis to a metropolis. So that's a bit of a hard limit on the map, but it's not only that, you also need to make sure that you deliver a lot of food from Chicago. But luckily there's a bug in the level. So Chicago, as this level actually has two sources of food, they say you need a stockyard, and this stockyard should deliver 20 food units to Cincinnati, Toronto, and Detroit. But what you can do is that you can actually build a food plant that also makes food from wheat, and it doesn't differentiate from that, so you can actually get a lot of food very quick. So this will do. This was a bit unfortunate with the RNG that the stockyard, that the cattle farms were so far away from Chicago. But yeah, I mean, I think it matters, because it was actually food that was my ultimate limit in the end. Yeah, but that's just how it is. But on the other hand, yeah, well, you'll see. Steel goes to Chicago rather quickly, so that we can start creating cars. And after that, I make sure that Chicago gets all of the farmyards as well, the wheat, so that hopefully it will. I mean, in the best case scenario, Chicago would have a food plant and a stockyard that actually grows to medium size as quickly as possible, as it helps with the delivery of it produces food quicker. After that we have secured that, I will deliver the food to Toronto first, because Toronto is usually the slowest, as it is the farthest away. I also noticed on this level that it crashes a lot less if you don't build rail and drag the camera at the same time. So this is why I'm doing this strange thing and just not building it in one piece. because that's generally when so you see there, and then it lags a lot when I do that, so I get really afraid that the game would crash, but it didn't, so that's good at least. And start delivering food to Toronto as soon as possible, because it usually, sometimes at least, it is the detrimental food delivery point. And actually I think Indy has already grown into a metropolis, or it was very quick at least. But anyway, now I'm building the rail all the way down to Indy, preparing to deliver the cars for when it becomes a metropolis. The good thing about the game is, of course, that you can, even though it doesn't accept automobiles yet, you can put a train that goes back and forth to it. And you see I put the priority on this train to low. This is because I don't want it to carry too many cars, because then it might be inefficient for the end. 33 cars are the target, and I mean the best would be to have, I guess, 3, but it doesn't really matter. But we can put a second train on the tracks with normal priority, as I'm running on the normal routing difficulty. This makes it so that the trains, they cannot collide. So this will be very efficient for the autos. And now I'm just building the last piece of, the penultimate last piece, the penultimate piece of rail to Cincinnati to prepare for the food deliveries. I am also starting to buy the opponents out. It's actually, I mean, ideally maybe it would be good to buy them as quickly as possible, because then they won't contribute to the lag, and in a dream scenario they would not aid in crashing the game. So it's something with bridges, and then, as I said, dragging and building at the same time. The game hates that, so that's why I'm doing this funny bit by bit building. But at this point all the rails have been connected. Chicago has a connection to Detroit, Cincinnati and Toronto, and now I put second car train, which will have normal priority, to go to Indianapolis. And at this point it's just to wait for the deliveries and to buy out all the opponents. I really made sure that Toronto would not get starved from food, so you could see that I really wanted the Toronto train not to wait, because it has to go the farthest. But at the same time you don't want Chicago to hit the food limit, which is 16, as I have both a food plant and a stockyard there. And this is pretty much it, and now you wait. And actually this was really good. I mean, despite the bad RNG in Chicago, and despite having not optimal trains to Indianapolis, they actually finished almost at the same time, which is the best you can wish for. So in that sense it was a very good run. Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. There's not much more to say. That's what's going to go down. I will buy out all the opponents. I will do micro adjustments to the food deliveries to Detroit and Cincinnati, and that's all there is. And you will see that the car deliveries and the food deliveries will finish almost at the same time, which is of course very desirable. So yes, I hope you enjoy this and enjoy the rest of the video.